In today's tutorial, I'll show you how to sew a beautiful scrunchie, a quick and easy sewing project. I'll be using my scrunchie bundle pattern for this tutorial, which comes in 6 sizes and 5 variations. It's a free pattern at the moment. It will only be free for a limited time. So if you would like to grab it while it's free, you can find the pattern link in the description or at the top right corner. Once you have gotten your pattern printed and have your pieces cut out, you can go ahead and pick your size. I'm making size small today, but you can use my steps no matter which size you go for. It's basically one simple method that works for any size you pick from the bundle. If you're not sure which size to go for, here's a reference photo of all the finished sizes. Hopefully it helps you picture which scrunchie size you would like to make. Here's the supplies and materials you will need to make your scrunchie. A light woven fabric, some elastic that's about 18 centimeters long, a safety pin or a bodkin, a marking tool. I prefer using heat erasable pen, but you could use chalk or water soluble marker, some fabric scissors, pins or sewing clips, some matching thread, and lastly, an iron for pressing your fabric and seams. I have also listed everything in the pattern detail file, so please take a look at that. It comes with your purchase. It has all the important details you will need for this project. Before you start, make sure to give your fabric a quick wash and a press with an iron. Washing it first helps to prevent any shrinking later, and pressing makes it much easier to work with. Once your fabric is ironed, lay it out nice and flat. Then place your pattern piece on top. I'm just using a few heavy objects to keep mine in place while I trace around it. I'm using a heat erasable pen, but you can use whatever fabric marker you like. Take your time and trace all the way around the pattern. Then you can go ahead and cut along your marking line. You should now have one long strip of fabric ready to go. Now take your long strip of fabric and bring the two short ends together with the right sides of the fabric facing each other. Clip or pin them in place so they don't shift around while you're sewing. We're going to sew right here along this edge with 0.7 centimeters seam allowance. I've set my stitch length to number 2, and for tension I keep mine around 5 or 6. You can test these settings out on a scrap piece of fabric first, and if it looks good, you can go ahead and use the same settings on your scrunchie. I tested my settings on some scrap fabric first, and it looked like the perfect setting, so I can go ahead and start sewing the scrunchie. I'm starting with a backstitch, and as I'm sewing, I'm using my presser foot as a guide to keep that 0.7 centimeters seam allowance. When you get to the end, do a quick backstitch to make sure your seam is nice and sturdy. Once you're done, give your seam a quick press with an iron on both sides. It will help everything lay nice and flat. Next, you should have the wrong side of the fabric facing you. Then you will take the top edge of the fabric and fold it down towards the middle, then take the bottom edge and fold it upwards towards the middle as well. Next, you want to line up the seams so they match perfectly. Take the bottom seam and place it right on top of the top seam. Clip or pin the two seams together, but be careful to only clip the seams and not the fabric tube that's inside. With the tube still being tucked inside, sew along the top raw edges with the right sides facing each other. Start your stitch with a back stitch and keep sewing along the two raw edges with 0.7 cm seam allowance. Be careful to only sew the two raw edges together and not catching the fabric tube that's inside while sewing. As you get close to the end, gently pull the tube from the inside. This will reveal the next section you need to sew. Keep sewing along the raw edges with 0.7 cm seam allowance. Every time you're near the end, pull the tube out a bit more and continue sewing along the raw edges with the tube tucked inside. Hopefully, watching me do this in the video makes it clear. Keep going until you reach the starting point where you begin sewing the tube. Once you notice you're reaching the starting point where we begin sewing, leave a 2 to 3 cm opening. Make sure you end your stitch with a back stitch to secure it. Lift up your presser foot and trim any excess threads. Now you should have a 2 to 3 cm opening left unstitched. Next, we will reach the inside of the opening and grab the tube, pulling it all the way through until you have a long fabric tube. Go ahead and trim any loose thread that you see. Next, give your fabric tube a good press with your iron. Pressing will really help your scrunchie look polished and professional, so make sure you don't skip this step. You should now have a flat, long tube with a small opening still visible. Through that opening, we'll thread the elastic. Attach one end of your elastic to the safety pin. This will make threading so much easier. Then feed the safety pin with the elastic attached through the opening all the way around the tube. Before you start feeding the safety pin all the way through the tube, make sure you clip the other end of the elastic to the fabric so it doesn't slip inside the tube. Keep pushing the safety pin all the way around the tube until it comes back to the opening. Now both ends of the elastic should be coming out of the same opening. Clip the two ends of the elastic together. Grab a hand sewing needle and some thread, then stitch the elastic ends together. Make sure to sew over it multiple times so it's nice and secure. Once you're done stitching, double check that your elastic joint is tight and strong. Now gently stretch out the tube. The only thing we have left is now to close the opening. And to close the opening, you have two options. You can hand stitch it for an invisible finish, or use your sewing machine with a straight stitch, which is what I'll be doing here. Place the edge of the tube right where your needle will go down. Stitch as close to the edge as you can, making sure you catch both sides of the opening to close it properly. Start your stitch with a backstitch and end your stitch with a backstitch to secure everything. Trim any loose thread, and that's it, we're done! You've just made yourself a cute little scrunchie. It's perfect for adding a cute touch to your outfits or making gifts just by using a little bit of fabric, which is amazing. Just a quick heads up, if you're sewing the mini size scrunchie, it can be quite tricky to sew the raw edges without accidentally catching the tube inside. What really helped me was using a blunt tool with a rounded edge like a wooden stick or a paintbrush. So if you're struggling with that, make sure to give this trick a try. If you have found this tutorial helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. It really helps my channel grow and lets YouTube know that you find this content helpful, which means I can make more videos like this. In the next video, I'll be walking you through how to make the 5 unique variations included in the bundle. So if you're interested in that, you will find the video link in the description or at the top right corner, or at the end of the video.